Hello, my darlings. It's Michaela. So I want to talk about abs. Basically, the best way to create definition. So number one, abs are made in the kitchen. Essentially, how much fat you have on your body covering your muscles, covering your abdominal muscles, is going to be most greatly impacted by how you eat. So abs are made in the kitchen in the sense that basically what you eat, how much you eat, and also how often you eat. So I help people get into a fat burning mode. Should you wish to know a little bit more about that mythical state, please check out the 5 parts of fat burning in the description below. But why this is so consequential is that when we eat more carbohydrates, basically our insulin levels tend to be higher. And so what that means is we tend to store fat more easily. Insulin is a fat storing hormone. Additionally, when we run on sugar, when we run on glucose for fuel, we need to eat often. And each time we eat, insulin levels rise to handle the blood sugar shift. So at any rate, it's like, well, if we eat fat for fuel, basically we're not having as much insulin in our system, which also impacts other hormones beneficially, meaning that basically the higher insulin is, the more it messes with human growth hormone. So human growth hormone is considered our fountain of youth. It's a hormone that assists with tissue regeneration, weight loss, immunity, staving off disease, and also it impacts testosterone levels. So if you have a desire to either create more muscle and also maintain muscle, your human growth hormone levels are consequential. Additionally, another macronutrient that you might want to think about if you want to kind of help this effort is protein. And so both this is something that is useful for weight loss in the sense that it's filling. Protein is not a good source of fuel, but it is a very useful macronutrient for fullness, just for like helping on the diet train, but it also is something that's quite consequential for muscle. And as we get into our 30s and absolutely 40 and beyond, our hormonal balance shifts. And so it becomes harder to build muscle. It becomes harder to maintain muscle. So our protein requirement increases. Additionally, protein is something that releases a certain hormone called glucagon. And glucagon is a fat releasing hormone. Protein is also something that expends quite a bit of calories in the digestion process. So it's not like a get out of jail free macronutrient, but it definitely moves us in the direction that we might be desiring to go. All right. The other thing is that, so abs are made in the kitchen and abs are made when we're not in the kitchen. And what that means is how much food we're eating and how frequently we're eating will affect the amount of fat that's on our frame, potentially covering the abdominal muscles that we wish to be showing off. So basically, when you're in a fat burning mode, once again, should you wish to know more about this state, please check out the 5 parts in the description. But essentially, when we're running on fat, we require less food. We require less fuel because we're already in the fuel that we're wishing to burn. So when we're in a fat burning mode, it's easier to stay out of the kitchen because we're not hungry or we're less hungry. And then additionally, because of that reduction in hunger, we also eat less often. And so, like we said before, every time we eat, our blood sugar raises, our insulin raises, and basically the higher that level stays up, the more likely we are to store fat and the harder it becomes to lose it. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2 is fat matters. And it's like, what do you mean by that? Fat matters in the sense that how much fat is on your frame is going to determine how visible your abdominal muscles are. Great. So this is a progression that we're going through. So when you're exercising, if fat is your focus, you want to think about doing both cardiovascularly challenging exercises and doing resistance training that uses larger muscle groups. So the cardiovascularly challenging exercises, something, outside, on a treadmill, on a bike, you want to make sure you're doing something to the degree that you breathe harder, that you sweat, that you might even huff and puff to the point of like, oh my God, like I need to like stop for a second. If you're doing something with an interval type makeup, okay? But that additional creation of oxygen basically helps to burn fat and also to expend more calories. Additionally, with resistance training, if you want to just like get more fat off your frame, please don't waste your time with individual muscles, isolated lifts, really. You want to do larger things. 4 main movers for the body: squats, deadlifts, or lunges, if that's complicated, push-ups and pull-ups. And all of those exercises, they're either addressing large groups on the front of the lower body, large groups on the back of the lower body, large groups on the front of the upper, large groups on the back of the upper body. And again, if I didn't already say this, all of those exercises can be modified for any fitness level, okay? Then number 3 is the place where most people start, which is exercising of the abdominal muscles. And the truth is, this is where you should end. Diet's number 1, doing exercise that expends more calories, that burns more fat when you're doing it. And then once we've got it like quite a bit off our frame, then we can fine tune. And the thing that I want to share that I would encourage anyone to consider heavily is what you want to look like. What you do, what you build is what will grow. What you stress is what will grow. And so if you're someone, so there's 3 options here, as far as I'm concerned. If you want like the flattest tummy possible, like the ittiest bittiest waist, if you want less mass around your midsection, then you want to do isometric holds. And the best place to start is with the deepest abdominal muscle, which is considered your core. So your transverse abdominis is the only muscle that goes all the way around your midsection. So you want to think about pulling in below your belly button towards your spine till you feel a little sensation in your lower back, not pain, okay? And that lets you know that you've kind of cinched this girdle. So you want to hold that 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds and let it go. And you can do this anywhere. You could do this sitting on the floor making a video. You could do this standing in line at the grocery store. You could do this while you're working out, anywhere. You can also do this and then add another isometric exercise, like a plank would be really great, all right? If we wanna step it up a notch, and we want a little more definition and a little more strength, frankly, doing body weight exercises for our abdominal muscles. So doing things where we're laying on the ground, we're dropping our feet, we're raising our knees, we're dropping our long leg, maybe we're lifting our chest a little bit, but things that just involve our body when we're generally horizontal. And then lastly, if you want, like, I'm a Spartan warrior abs, like dinner rolls on your midsection, like liquid, like being able to like pool and birds, drink out of it. If you want like heavy duty, defined, large, thick, big abdominal muscles, then the more resistance, the better. The more challenge, the better. And so how do you create that? You add more weight. So you either grab more weight and do what you're doing, you use your body in positions that increase the resistance. So whether that's like lifting your legs up while hanging, being upside down, lifting your whole upper body up. But those are the ways to create more challenge, more strength, more mass. okay? So if you don't want a wider waist, do not do obliques. You don't want to, if you don't want something to be larger, you don't really want to build it in a way that really increases the mass. So basically, when we do these isometric exercises, it builds a degree of strength, not as much as something that actually includes far more challenge, but it helps with this reduction. Anyway, that's it. All right, so I hope that was useful. Once again, should you wish to make weight loss easier and weight gain harder, please check out the 5 parts of fat burning. And if you actually are someone who has gotten, quite lean and just has a little extra roll, you could use the technique of spot reduction, which is a thing. And I'll attach that video in the description as well, okay? But that's appropriate for people that just have a little something extra, not a lot of weight to lose. If you've got a lot of weight to lose, start with step 1, abs are made in the kitchen. All right, that's it. Anywho, hope everyone is having a great day. Thank you for being here. Hope this was useful. Love to all, and until next time.